What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we have what I would call a very interesting type of video. Today we're going to be ranking how happy I would be to be the backup quarterback on this team. So for the time being, I've sorted this into 5 categories. Give me the job, as if I'm going to steal it. I'll take the ring, because hey, I'm down to ring chase for sure. Swiper or a good time, where I could possibly take the job, or it could just be a good time. Anything for a job. I'll do anything for a job. Then absolutely not, because the team is cursed. All right, so let's start it off with the Cincinnati Bengals. So I'm gonna put this in anything for a job because the fact that Joe Burrow is their quarterback and their big 3 of offense makes up about 35% of their cap, I would be scared to take this job. First off, Joe Burrow is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, and Cincinnati is 2,000% committed to him. Also, I think Ja'Marr Chase might kill me or hurt me or threaten me if I try and take his friend's job. Listen, would I probably unlock T. Higgins if I got this? Because it seems like everybody who's not Joe Burrow can unlock T. Higgins like nobody else. Probably. But Zach Taylor also is a very terrifying man when it comes to NFL teams, and I'm just going to stick as far away from him as possible. Next up, we have the Chicago Bears, and we're going to start off with an absolutely not. Because, listen, is it possible that I steal Caleb Williams' job? Maybe in like 5 years, when he's 100% not proven and told to bust. But for the time being, nobody's taking Caleb Williams' job because although Ben Johnson doesn't have attachments to him, everybody else in that organization does. Who would not allow themselves to trade him. Also, in their entire history, as one of the oldest teams in the NFL, they have never once had a 4,000-yard passer. And I don't know if Caleb Williams is going to break that or not, but I would be terrified to take over. Next up, we have the New York Giants, and honestly, this one's tough. I'm going to put this one in Swiper or a good time, solely because of the fact that Jameis Winston is also in that quarterback room, and as long as he is in that quarterback room, it's going to be a good time. I also like the fact that Jackson Dart, my now rival, and Cam Scatterbo have a really nice relationship, it seems, so that would be also fun to be a part of. Brian Daboll is that entire just coaching regime when it comes to coach and everything above it in ranking. I am not touching that with a 100-meter pole. I could just be the quiet type, but me and Jameis could get along, right? Maybe Sexy Dexy. I mean, it's just a fun team. Next up, we have the Baltimore Ravens. This is a take the ring situation here. Yeah, if I'm the Ravens, I'm just taking the ring here. I mean, obviously, they haven't won the ring yet. Someone like Kansas City has proven that they can finally execute. But I think it would be pretty fun. They are one of the best rosters in the NFL. Lamar Jackson as a scrambler also will probably get hurt or has a greater chance of getting hurt than other quarterbacks in the league. So I will definitely take the opportunity, if he gets hurt, to take control of that loaded offense. And if he doesn't, then I could take that ring fair and square. Then we move to the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's the exact same. I'll just take that ring. Listen, Mahomes has been to 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls. He's never not made an AFC championship in his career. And I'm going to rock with those odds, as there is a gigantic chance that they win the Super Bowl once again. And I mean, it's just what a dynasty does. And that's exactly why Gardner Minshew's there right now. And I want to be like Gardner Minshew. Next up, we have the Miami Dolphins, and I'm going to go into Swiper or good time, solely for the fact that Tua's brain is one flick away from being turned into soup, and if that is the case, then I'm getting that job. The reason that this isn't in the give me the job tier is because, well, I don't have a gigantic chance of taking that job as long as Tua stays healthy, which I think that they're going to take leaps and bounds to do this year. But if I do take it, it is going to be a great time because I have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and 0 tight end, but also Devon Achane, and it's just going to be a very fun experience for my stats if I do get to be a part of that starting roster. Next up, we have the Green Bay Packers, and I'm going to go anything for a job here, solely for the fact that Jordan Love has looked really good over the last few years, and the fact that they just look like a stable organization. They're going to probably make the playoffs, but not go very far in them. I mean, it seems like a fun team, of course, but they just don't have the chemistry that teams like the Giants have. And, I mean, obviously, there are the quarterback whispers as they have gone from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love, and they had Bart Starr and all that, but I'm just not taking that chance. Next up, we have the Philadelphia Eagles, another easy one. I'll take the ring, baby. And also, if Jalen Hurts somehow gets hurt, I am absolutely taking that. Also, Kenny Pickett had a large snap count along with Tanner McKee because Jalen Hurts would get subbed out from the fourth quarter because that offense is so good. And I'll be throwing that ball a lot if I get that opportunity. This might be the best situation if you want that ring. Oh, next up, the Cleveland Browns. And honestly, they should be an absolutely not just because of how cursed they are. But at that point, I might as well just get the job. Listen, they have Shedeur Sanders, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Kenny Pickett. Who else do they have? I forget. But I think they released Bailey Zappi, and that's what I'm thinking about. But I am absolutely not trying to get cursed. However, that is probably the second most open quarterback room to another team we'll see later on here, because they just don't have a solidified starter. I've seen people say Shedeur. I've seen people say Dylan Gabriel. I've seen people say Flacco. Now they're going to be screaming my name. And that's not a Deshaun joke, who is the other quarterback that I was thinking about. Next up, we have the Houston Texans, and this may shock some people, but I am going with absolutely not. Listen, I saw what CJ Stroud did last year. I saw that he was under complete terror attacks based off of every single snap that he had to endure. And guess what they did this offseason? They traded away his one good offensive lineman, Laramie Tunsil. I am not taking that chance. Absolutely not. Listen, it seems like kind of a fun job, but the fact that their offensive line is basically the equivalent of stacking 5 paper napkins across each other and trying to make that stop a gigantic flood, I'm not going near there. Next up, we have the Seattle Seahawks. Literally the exact same thing. Their offensive line is in deep hell, and I do not want to be subject to getting absolutely destroyed behind it. Geno Smith was on the run basically every single play, and I'm sorry to Sam Darnold. And if I have to take over because he gets hurt, because once again, instead of 5 paper napkins, it's now 3 paper napkins, I am not going to take that. I am honestly just going to spike the ball every play because I'm going to be under duress and I'm going to be in cardiac arrest by the end of the first game. Next up, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Honestly, what I'm going to say here is going to be give me the job. I know it's a little bit out there for me to say this, but I think that Aaron Rodgers has not been playing the best in training camp. From what I've seen, he's just been dumping it off. And he is so old, and he's getting worse every year at this point. I think that if I'm a good backup quarterback, I have a chance of taking that job. And I think that's very possible that their rookie quarterback can take the job from Rodgers by the end of the year. So just give me the job. Because give me the job. I mean, Aaron Rodgers should just be put in a retirement home already. Next up, I have the Washington Commanders. And this is honestly kind of a hard choice. I'm going to say anything for a job just because of the fact that there's literally nothing outside of an injury that is going to put... Actually, hold up. I'm going up here to Swiper / Good Time because I think that I have a chance at swiping that job from Jayden Daniels if he gets hurt. Listen, from what we saw in college, the reason that Jayden Daniels is an older quarterback is because he played more years in college because he got hurt so much. So if I can take the job after he gets hurt, which hopefully he doesn't in the NFL, but hopefully for this video he does, then I would actually be able to use that offense. Listen, it's also Unk City, so they could all mentor me to become a better quarterback. I like this placement. Yep, here comes the New Orleans Saints, and this one, I can just read off 3 names, and just you'll know why. Tyler Shuck, Spencer Rattler, Jake Haener. Those are 3 reasons why I need that job. Listen, you could throw a plumber in that quarterback room and he could probably have a chance at winning the job. So just put me in there. By the way, give me the job. That could mean week 1 for this team because that's how desperate they could be. Next up, we have the Lions, and I'm going to go anything for a job here. I just realized that these are all now perfectly symmetrical. That was not on purpose. I'm saying anything for a job just because, listen, Jared Goff is a very safe player, and he doesn't look like he's getting hurt. And no quarterback for the Lions last year other than Goff got really any main time. But I'm also forgetting the fact that they're a Super Bowl caliber team, so I'm actually going to take that ring. Listen, I'm just going to have the best of the best of teams here for I'll take the ring. And that's exactly what the Lions are. Listen, they made it to the NFC Championship. Or no, wait, they lost in the divisional round last year. But still, I mean, this roster just got better and better. And now they have Hutch back. I think they can make a playoff Super Bowl push here. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Chargers. And I think that this team would just be a good time to be on. So I'm going to put them in Swiper a good time. Just because the fact that Jim Harbaugh has already built such a fun-looking culture around this team. Also, everybody on this team just looks like they have fun. Their social media all does really fun stuff. They look like they have a bunch of really funny guys. Literally, like a couple hours ago, I saw a video about Joe Alt and Justin Herbert just laughing together about random stuff throughout the training camp. So I think this would be probably one of the most fun teams to be on. Ooh, next up we have the Rams. And I'm going to say I'm bordering on give me the job, but I'm also bordering on Swiper because I might be able to swipe that job from him. I'm going to say good time or slash Swiper just because I probably could swipe that job if Stafford does finally take that step back this year. Even though he already has that back pain, I don't think it's going to really progress into anything much more. So I think that maybe next year it would be give me the job if Stafford looks a little bit worse now. But for the moment, Stafford is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And I think they might continue that into the next couple years. Next up, we have the Arizona Cardinals, and this is also going to be a swiper because, actually, I should probably separate this into two tiers, huh? All right, so here's the rearranged tier list now that we separated those two tiers. And yeah, I mean, Kyler Murray is in a make or break year right now. Listen, he's getting a lot of money, but still, he just has not taken that leap forward that we all thought he would when he got that money. Some games, he looks like a top 10 quarterback. Other games, he looks like the 13-year-old kid that he has the build of, minus the beard, I guess. So I'm just going to take that job if he just doesn't produce. Next up, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I'm going to put this into anything for a job just because I don't see any main reasons why that would be such a good time. Baker seems like a great guy, but he is my rival. And honestly, I would take this job, but it wouldn't be the best time for me. And Todd Bowles is also a very controversial coach when it comes to that state. So I'm just going to take it. Next up is the New York Jets. And this is another pretty easy one. I'll take the ring is the exact opposite of absolutely not, which is exactly where the Jets are going. Hear me out. Listen, at least where this is one of the teams that are cursed when it comes to quarterbacks, like the Bears and Browns. With the Browns, they had a wide open quarterback room that I could get in. The Bears and Jets don't. And that is why the Jets are an absolutely not. Because the Jets are another absolutely cursed franchise, not even with quarterbacks, with everything. At least all these teams do have promise outside of anything but their quarterbacks. The Jets, it doesn't matter with the quarterback or not. They are cursed, and they will always be cursed. And we can look at any number of quarterbacks who are on the Jets and then left, and we're perfect. And I'm not going to be that because even if I did have good talent, the Jets would waste it. Next up is the Denver Broncos, and I'm going to go with anything for a job here, which is kind of funny because 2 years ago, if I made this video, the Broncos would absolutely be in Give Me the Job, or at least Swiper, because they were horrible, especially when it comes to their quarterback room. But I don't think I would get any snaps. Bo Nix doesn't seem to get injured, and he seems like a very great up-and-coming quarterback, and I don't think that I'd have it. Also, I don't see any great reason why it would be such a great time to be on the team, whereas on these other ones, there's certain reasons why it would be extra fun. So I just don't think that they have anything too crazy to offer. I don't think they're quite at the ring place yet, so I think it's just anything for a job. Next up is the Tennessee Titans, and where I think that you could put them in Swiper, I think that anything for a job fits them way, way better, just because they have Cam Ward, obviously, who they will most likely, unless he gets hurt somehow, he will be their starter for the next at least 2 years, unless something absolutely insane happens. So obviously I wouldn't be taking snaps because they have the first overall pick who they won't give up on. We've seen this with multiple teams, for example, Jacksonville, for example, Arizona, all these other teams that have very mediocre rookie quarterbacks, but there's obviously no way that I'm starting there. Also, it wouldn't be a good time because we'd be losing every game. Their schedule is relatively difficult outside of their division, and it's a very scary team to be on because they also don't have the greatest weapons. So I just don't want to be there, but it's not on the same tier as the Bears, Texans, Seahawks, and Jets. Next up is the Patriots, who are very, very, very similar. Drake May looked very good at the end of last season, and also their offensive line last season was not very good, which makes him look even better. They did just sign a bunch of guys, but I'm not going to forget about what happened to Joe Milton, where he was a great backup for them, and then they traded him to Dallas, where he is now living his best life as he's being very nicely mentored by Dak Prescott, apparently. So I do think that he is living a good life, but I wouldn't go there just to be traded, and they certainly aren't winning anything soon. Next up is the Indianapolis Colts, and I'm going to go Give Me the Job. I saw a TikTok from the Colts News or from Indianapolis News this morning, and it said that none of their quarterbacks in their quarterback room have over a 50% completion rate inside of training camp so far. And that's in training camp against the Colts defense, which is not top 15 in the league. Anthony Richardson was a project quarterback, but he now kind of sucks. They also have Daniel Jones, who we all know kind of sucks. He's been bouncing around teams the last couple of years. Well, last year and a half. So I think that job is wide open. And honestly, I think they'd do anything for a good quarterback, as that team is honestly pretty solid outside of that position. Also, I could get carried by Jonathan Taylor and Quentin Nelson and look way better than I actually am. Next up is the 49ers, and this is another anything for the job. Listen, I'm moving up to good time. I think I am going to move it up to good time. I would say that it wasn't because there is so much drama. I obviously wouldn't get a single snap because Brock Purdy is so young and so good, and also they just paid him so much money. And outside of that, their offense just seems to keep getting hurt. They had a really rough offseason when it comes to losing a bunch of their key pieces. But they have George Kittle, they have Kyle Juszczyk, and they have Brock Purdy. They have Christian McCaffrey. All these guys look absolutely hilarious. It would be honestly a fun time to work with this offense because so many of them look like such funny personalities, and we all know that George Kittle is like the Jameis Winston of tight ends. Next up is the Falcons, and I'm honestly going to go with Swiper. Now, I don't think that they would bench Penix this early, but if he was playing really bad like Kirk was last year, I think that they might bring him out if there was a good backup on the bench. Obviously, this team has some great offensive weapons. They have Darnell Mooney, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Kyle Pitts, Chris Lindstrom, the rest of that great offensive line. So I think that this would be a fun team to be with. And if Penix can't get it together like he did at the end of last year, then I think that Swiper is a possibility. Next up is the Bills, and this is going to be I'm going to look at the bottom and say final. I'll take the ring spot here, as the Bills are absolutely a disgusting roster. And worst comes to worst, they can put me at wide receiver and just test my hands out because they have nobody there who would take the one spot. This team is honestly great. They make the playoffs. Josh Allen was the MVP last year, so I obviously wouldn't be getting any stats because of him, unless they're poverty time stats. But I think this could be a really fun team to be on the back end with because I would possibly get a ring. Next up, we go to the Carolina Panthers, and I'm going to go back to Swiper with them because, as we saw last year, they are not scared to bench Bryce Young. And a lot of these other situations where you have a first overall pick coming into his second year, these guys would never get benched. But Bryce Young did for Andy Dalton for a couple games before he honestly got hurt. And that is the reason why they brought Bryce back into the starter role. I think that if Bryce doesn't step up here and they don't get more wins than they did before, and Bryce Young doesn't put up better stats than he did before, I think that if they had a good backup, he would get benched as a possibility because that is exactly what happened last year. I think that it would take a lot for him to get benched, but I think that it is more of a possibility than Panthers fans would like to admit. Next up, we have the Minnesota Vikings, and this is also going into Swiper. Now, I don't know how much of a swiper this would be. This might be on the tail end of it. But if McCarthy doesn't pan out, then there is a chance that he gets benched, especially because that offense and defense are both so good that they have contentions for winning the Super Bowl. They only lost 3 games, I believe, last year. And honestly, that's with Sam Darnold, who had his first good year of his entire career, who will now be tested in Seattle to see if that keeps up, who is also in my absolutely not category, so I'm sorry for him. But if JJ McCarthy isn't what they thought that he would be, he's a very much of a project quarterback, and I could see him getting benched, especially considering he already has a lingering injury that could bring it more into the season. So I think that it is a possibility of him getting benched if a great backup comes along. Now we're going to go to the Las Vegas Raiders, and honestly, I'm going to shock myself here. I'm going to go with Swiper. Now, here's why I'm thinking this. Geno Smith is so old. I believe he's 34 years old without fact checking. I think he's 34 years old. And if he is 34 years old, for a lot of quarterbacks who aren't great, that is their cutoff. And Geno Smith has only been great for a couple of years. He is very old on a new team with some staff that he is not familiar with outside of Pete Carroll, who is their head coach. But I do think that if he shows a lot of his age, he could get benched if a great backup comes along. And hell, he might even get benched for AOC if he plays really that bad. So I honestly could see swiping his job if I'm a great backup. Next up, we go for the Cowboys. And here, I'm going to do anything for a job. just because there's no real appeal for the Cowboys here. Obviously, fans will dog you just for being on the Cowboys. I think it's going to be really funny to see George Pickens on the Cowboys, just because he already gets hate for being such an immature, such an aggressive man. And now he's on one of the most hated teams, probably the most hated team in the NFL in its entire history. So I think that it's going to be really funny to see him on there. And I think that if I'm a Cowboy, we don't really have that great contention of winning. I see them going third in their division, like I said in my past video. So I think that there's a chance that they don't make the playoffs, they don't have contention, and I'd already be on a hated team. And we're going to end this out with Jacksonville, which is an easy swiper for me. I think that Jacksonville has a decent chance to star me if T-Law can't pan out. And already, we've seen that he has injury concerns. He got hurt last year. Of course, that was a freak accident with the defender on the Texans, Azeez Al-Shaair, I believe it was. But if that starts to linger a little bit more like Tua's, then it could turn out to be something really bad. God forbid that happen. But on the same time, Trevor hasn't been playing that well anyway. So I think that there's already a lot of tension built up. He is probably one of the quarterbacks on the hottest seats in the NFL this year. And I think that I have a chance. And that is going to do it for the list, everybody. Here is how it looks. I kind of really like how this looks. I have a lot more swipers than I thought I would. But once again, I think that all these have a very valid argument to them. Other than Penix, where I could see just putting in anything for a job. But anyway, that is going to do it for the video. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe. And tell me any moves that you would have in the comments, and maybe I'll do this next year.